This episode of Cognitive Dissonance is brought to you by our patrons. You fucking rock.
Glory hole, gentlemen. In your discussion about Alex Jones wanting to buy a sex doll and burn it, my mind instantly wandered to, how would you like to be the person working customer service in the warranty department of the sex doll company? Yeah, my sex doll is failed. What were you doing at the time, sir? Oh God, no, I don't want to know. No, I don't. Oh, thank you. I can't get that out of my head now. Glory hole.
Hey Cecil, and to some extent Tom, this is Kevin MacLeod, the guy that makes all the music. I just wanted to thank you for the super shout out that you did in last week's episode. But I guess I can say goodbye to all that sweet Christian money now that I've been getting from people. Fuck it. Glory hole.
Yo, what's up, Tom and Cecil? You guys are talking about bands you regret listening to and you'd be horrified to add a tattoo. I got two good ones for you. Papa Roach and Limp Bizkit. And fuck you, Tom Nails is still cool. Enjoy your eggnog this Christmas, guys. Glory hole.
Be advised that this show is not for children, the faint of heart, or the easily offended. The explicit tag is there for a reason.
Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago, this is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. This is episode 392. Of Cognitive Dissonance. This is our Christmas episode.
It's our Christmas. Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.
Unwrap this motherfucking thing.
Unwrap it. Get over to the glory hole and open that hole up.
This might be a very welcome present for all of those people who have like shitty religious families. You're stuck at some like horrible family gathering. I used to get stuck at my ex-mother-in-law's house for dinner.
She was not a good cook from what I remember.
Of all the places you could eat.
Yeah.
Gitmo, a correctional center.
Auschwitz.
Not at all. All better places to eat.
Yeah.
Than on my ex-mother-in-law's.
My favorite story is when she crock-potted asparagus.
Oh my God. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. She made a rice chicken food that was supposed to have peas in it, but she was like the queen of all substitutions without any idea of how to substitute. Or like what? So
you substitute when you substitute in the culinary world. When you substitute, you need to know what that ingredient does, right? So like you can't just substitute water for eggs if eggs are the structure,
right? Of course. Right.
If it's a liquid, maybe, but if it's not used as the liquid, and eggs are used for many things, not just one. So there's
you're adding proteins and fats.
There's all kinds of stuff you're adding, and you're adding things for structure, and you might add for steam. There's all kinds of things you could add for. When you just like, I don't have peas, so I'm going to use like caribou. That's not a thing you do.
That would have been better.
Yeah,
that would have been better.
Yeah.
Crock potted this asparagus and then stirred
asparagus. Come on now. Everybody knows that has cooked asparagus that the moment you leave them in there too long, they're like little green worms. They're like slippery, gross little stringy worms.
But worse than that, it turned the whole food green.
Yeah, and it's string now. It's all strings are in it.
And they broke into nothing pieces. You couldn't avoid them.
Yeah.
And it was this green starch glop. It was the most unappealing food I've ever seen.
She basically made the Grinch for Christmas. She made the Grinch.
I looked over at my son. My son had this this look of sheer horror on his mind.
Did he have to eat it?
I made him eat it. I ate it, and I looked at him. I was like, just try it. Have a little bit. And he and I locked eyes, and we're just like, We are in this shit together.
It's like
a thing.
It's like a moment from The Road.
Yeah, right. It was like, we're both eating a baby today. We're both getting a baby.
Baby time.
We're gonna do this thing together, and we're never talking about it afterwards.
It's funny because like I always get out of eating bad food at certain places. Wherever there's bad food served, I'm almost always get out of eating it just because I'm a super picky eater. So like, I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to eat that. And I just like say, I'm just not going to eat that.
See, and I think it's pretty well known that I am not a picky eater. So, and for the most part, like if I'm just eating for fuel, I can just say like, I don't like it, but it doesn't matter that I don't like it. I just need to put things in this body.
Sure.
Like I need to keep chewing on something until I'm done. But there is a moment there where you're just like, even I cannot even consider this as a fuel source.
Yeah.
Like it's just that bad. I want to know, what was your worst Christmas dinner? Like that, to the audience.
Sure.
Like, I want to know, like absolute worst Christmas dinner you've ever had. I think many of us have had some similar miserable, awful Christmas experience. Your fucking great Aunt Marge showed up with. The worst thing that's ever shown up for Christmas.
I will say one of the worst dishes that was ever offered me was there was these beans that someone had made, and they had taken like a bunch of canned beans and thrown them in a pot, not a pot. They were not cooked. So they were just beans. Imagine beans out of a can in a bowl. And then they started throwing things in there. They had thrown some mustard.
I remember this story
some mustard in there. They had cut up pickles and put it in there. I think there was celery, maybe onions, but it was just this big glop food of all kinds of just cut up shit with uncooked beans.
Yeah.
Well, they were cooked. They were just canned beans.
Yeah, right.
So they're just a mush food, but they're cold and gross. And it was, and they looked and they said, "Do you like beans?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." That was my answer. And that's how I got it. I never tried it, never tasted it.
I'm too dim-witted. I'd be like, I love beans. Fuck, no, not your beans. Oh, these are horrible. I gotta die.
Sarah will eat, Sarah puts stuff on her plate. Like she tries stuff from people. And I remember like Sarah is really good about cleaning her plate at like people's houses. She does a very good. She makes sure that she does it. She thinks I think she probably thinks I'm being rude by not tasting stuff, but I don't care. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. So like, and whatever, like, I don't care. People don't eat my food. You don't have to eat my food. I don't have to eat your food. It's not a fucking compact. We didn't sign a fucking contract. I don't have to eat your food. So like, but when I saw her plate after the day was over, that was not really touched. Like there was like one bite taken out, but then there was like, it was like clearly shoved over to the side. Like, please don't contaminate the rest of my food.
Well, I remember our very good friend Circle telling a story about eating and somebody had ashed into the potatoes.
Either they had ashed into the mashed potatoes or they came from a smoker's house where the film from smoking had gotten on the food. Well, they had gotten, so when they boiled the mashed potatoes, it might have boiled that film off onto the mashed potatoes. Yeah, right. And so it basically tasted like cigarette ash. Like the mashed potatoes, he said he put a big pile on his plate and he took a bite of it. It was like, ash, oh God. Like he said it was so repulsive that he nearly threw up. So yeah, that's a great question, Tom. What is your worst? And it could be a food or it can be a meal. Send us a message and we'll read a couple on the air.
I remember as a kid, my dad would ash into his Pepsi can.
Oh no!
And I remember when I was a little kid, I used to like grab my dad's Pepsi can and finish the last sip. You know, if he'd leave it on the table. Oh. And I remember one time grabbing that can, and it was like boom, and I just popped that thing in there, and it was Pepsi and cigarette ash and a butt. And I was just like, oh, God. It was just a horror show. I once did the same thing with a bee, and the ashes were worse than the bee. And the bee was alive. That bee was alive.
I guarantee there's people on the audience, though, that drank out of a dip can, too. Like that's, I'm sure that people have done that, too. I'm sure
it's happened.
Cans are used for the vessel to drink in and then never touch them again. They need to go away, need to get thrown away.
Treat them all like the roofied, right? Like if it is ever like just like I won't even put it down, right?
Unless you open it, don't ever drink out of it.
Even here in studio, I'm looking at this beer that's not left my sight. A little suspect.
And I don't even smoke.
All right, this story is from news.com.au. Amazon pulls infant circumcision training kits over child safety fears. No shit.
Yeah.
Because like I think if you're gonna cut somebody's genitals, you shouldn't be ordering a how-to kit from fucking Amazon, right? Like it's the only surgery that we would be like,
we don't do a home hysterectomy.
Right? Like Can you imagine, like, I got the home open heart surgery.
We're doing the home hydrocephalus shunt insertion.
Right, exactly. It's like, my baby has a subaortic stenosis, so I ordered a kit from Amazon. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Your kid, it's like your kid's a kit car. You're ordering like a lift kit for him. So he's got a spoiler. You've tinted his eyes.
I have to adjust his undercarriage lights.
He's got pinstripes down his face. He's like a customizable kid.
I want to talk about what this kit covers. This kit features surgical scissors, scalpels, a practice dummy with prosthetic foreskin replacements, and instructions. It has a picture of this thing. It's a little like baby crotch with detachable penises.
It's amazing.
So when you're like, oops, I need a mulligan.
You turn to the dad and you're like, does he have another penis? I love about this is, do you remember, and I don't know if you remember this, but there was a commercial on for a doll when I was a kid that was like a baby doll that would wet its diaper.
Yeah, I do
like
remember
you would fill
that.
with water. Do you fill this with ketchup? Wouldn't it be weird if you went by and someone was like ketchuping their hot dog with this? That's meta as fuck.
What
you
do
know
you
what I
mean
mean?
it would be weird?
That's fucking meta as fuck.
Now
You're taking a wiener to put ketchup on your wiener. That's fucking outstanding. That's meta.
I actually wish this was available on Amazon just so I could own this now and have like a picnic.
You know what? There's got to be some priest out there with this as a paperweight on his desk. You know, where did I put that? Oh, it's under the baby dick. That's where I left it.
You know, like there has to be a moment where like you're like, I think I'm ready to move away from the plastic baby and try this for the first time on your real life baby. And you're gonna be like, you can look at the parents and be like, I've done this hundreds of times on inanimate objects.
On a surgical dummy.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. You're not even doing it like don't doctors practice on cadavers? Isn't that how doctors get their, I don't know how doctors.
I have no idea.
I think that they practice on cadavers.
I thought they practice on poor people.
That too.
Yeah,
they make them into cadavers and then they practice on them. But yeah, I mean, I think that they practice on cadavers and they practice on, they make sure to get that, because then it's just like, okay, we showed you the book, go get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. They clearly have.
He did great on the written exam.
He's asking where you fill the number 2 scantron on the person. It's like, wait, which organs do I fill in with the lead? Yeah.
Why did I get that multiple choice medical degree?
This looks like a horror, though.
I can't believe this exists.
I can't believe they sold it on Amazon.
Now that I can.
Amazon Prime. I need this fucker in 2 days. Get this baby dick to me stat. I need it stat.
I wish I could read the reviews.
Oh, the reviews. The best review I read for this was somebody who said, I hope that they can get this practice down in 5 tries. It's like 5 tries, knock it out of the park. Some of the reviews
like a review by like a rabbi. It's like I tried sucking on it, but still bled.
That's why you need the ketchup. So if he comes up and it's on his face,
so weird.
I didn't cut it right.
I gave it herpes. I don't know.
The next guy who's practicing gets herpes. He's like, Phil, what the fuck? Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Oh my God, this story, I couldn't believe this fucking thing. This comes from dawn.com. It's time Pakistan banned the 2-finger test for decoding consent in rape trials. I had no idea that this was a thing.
Yeah.
But to boil this down, in Pakistan, the rape conviction rate is like 4%. 4%. And one of the things that they do to keep that so low, because that's horrifying, is they judge women based on whether or not they're like previously sexually active. Basically, like it's like the "did you have it coming" test, right?
Yeah.
And so they have a quote unquote medical procedure where they insert 2 fingers into the vagina of the accuser.
Yeah.
Right.
And if they can.
And if they can, well, like in the one, it's like, yeah, well, they inserted 2 fingers and it hurt this woman. And so, after we were done violating her again, we determined that she had actually been raped. And so the person who raped this woman was convicted. In other cases, it's like, the vagina, it says like the creepy shit. It's like the vagina accepted 2 fingers readily or like whatever. You're like, well, that's really weird the way
Hungrily.
you wrote that. Like, bring me more fingers.
Yeah. And then they
throw it out.
And then they say, well, no, you're a slut.
Right.
The problem isn't the guy who raped you. The problem is that you wanted the rape because you were sexually active.
Yeah. And you may have even.
And you basically consent to all sex at that point.
That's exactly like, that's what I was going to get at, is like, all of this is horrible, right? It's all horrible for all the reasons you guys already know it's horrible, but it's like, it's like consent is given once in this culture and then given
and then
explicitly, not even implicitly, explicitly to all men.
Yeah.
All men. It's like I had sex with one person and therefore I have explicitly given my body to all men in this entire fucking culture.
Absolutely.
That's a horror.
Yeah.
And that is ownership.
Absolutely.
That is an ownership culture.
Yeah. And you said it was 4%. 4%.
That's the rate of conviction.
And that's insane. And that just means that in order to get it into single digits, you have to use 2 digits. One of the things that they said in this article too, and this is a pretty much an editorial article. So,
right.
But the person said, it is presumed that a woman with honor would never bring shame upon herself by admitting that she had been raped. A true victim in many ways is one that never comes forward.
God.
So even just admitting it is, it's in their culture. It's even admitting it is basically bringing dishonor to your family.
And like, even think about that word, like admit, like you admit things that you're guilty of. You're not guilty of being raped. Yeah. Everything is wrong with a culture built like this.
Yeah.
Every single thing. You can't possibly look at something like this and defend it in any way. Did you happen to watch, there was a video, it was kind of a viral video. It was like in Jordan, there was a guy going around asking like kind of a man on the street thing. And it was like, what would you think if your sister went out and like got a job, like just a job outside the house, And like, there were people like, yeah, I'd fucking kill her. And they're like, you would do what? Like if she didn't like come home and she was like just out on her own, like being in the world. And they're like, yeah, this is not permissible. I would fucking kill her. He's like, I would just kill her because she would dishonor my family. And like, well, who gives you the right to do that? He's like, yeah, my fathers, my uncles, my brothers. That's who gives me the right to do it. And they're basically like, yeah, just cause. It's a just cause culture.
Sure.
Like,
you can't say that if like you come home, somehow that's a good thing in a culture. That'd be like, you just come home late and you get to get killed.
The Bible says they're going to eat their arms. The Bible says they're going to eat their babies. Then it says they're going to eat their children. That's what people do when they get hungry.
This starts from Right Wing Watch. This is Jim Bakker making his weekly appearance. I can't even preach the gospel because those who hate God want to kill me.
I totally thought that this was an old story, but then I looked and it's like yesterday.
It's old news.
It's the same thing he says every time.
It's the same shit, but I love that he simultaneously preaches the gospel and then bitches about not preaching the gospel.
Here we go. Here's Jim.
There's people today, they have gotten their way and they have beat back all opposition. They've changed America. But the only thing they can't change is this.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
He's holding up a floppy brown book.
You could totally change that. Give me a crayon. Highlight all the words that you want. Come on.
You could change that just by buying a different version of it.
You could change it by lighting it on fire.
The warfare is against the God of heaven, the God of Abraham.
But wouldn't God win? He's literally omnipotent. Like, Cecil, if I said to you, I need you to go to war against a kindergartner, how concerned would you be?
Oh, man. I'd be rubbing my hands.
Just a regular fat little kindergartner, like a little snotty nose, roly poly, shitty.
They can pick the weapons. I don't even care at this point. Yeah.
You'll Thunderdome any kindergartner out there,
let's
right?
do it.
Like, you're not omnipotent, but like, isn't the balance of power between an omnipotent deity that literally created light?
Yeah,
like
all
created
of it. No, just all
light
of it.
and matter.
Just all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus like some dude. Like
Tony.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, oh, it's a war against God. Well, if I was God, I'd be like, oh, really? I didn't notice. I was busy kicking your ass.
Yeah.
Isaac and Jacob, the God whose son is Jesus Christ. I'm serious. You have no idea. I can't even talk about it because
you just did. You literally just said
saying it right now. We can hear it.
they will kill me.
Who?
They.
Which of the
They,
days?
Tom.
What, right wing watch?
The deep state.
And I don't care what you say. I know what I'm talking about. They've already threatened my life because they disagree with the Bible, and the Christians are stubborn, they think. They don't think we're faithful. They think we're too stupid to be faithful.
Okay, to be fair, I think you're faithful and stupid.
Yeah.
I want to make that really clear.
You can't be both.
Yeah,
right?
they're not mutually exclusive.
I'm not faithful and stupid. So.
I feel like I've met more that are both than are just one or the other.
They think we're nuts. And so we believe this. Listen to me, you don't get this yet. Some of you do.
Did he just say you don't get this shit?
No, you don't get this yet.
Oh,
that would be amazing.
Hold on. Really?
Yeah.
And so we believe this. Listen to me, you don't get this yet. Some of you do.
Okay, you're right, but it sounded like it.
It'd be great if he's like, you don't get this shit.
You don't get this shit.
Fuck y'all. He gets back to his prison roots.
He's got his curlers in.
Couple in this room to understand what I'm saying.
He's just pointing to his eyes and pointing to them like, hey, simpatico.
You know who it is, huh? Come on, meet me in my trailer out back. I'll show you what for.
I don't want any of you oldies. 45. That's what I'm looking for.
The only thing they can't beat. They've won everything. They changed America.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't your worldview that Trump is your guy?
Well, they changed
Trump is
America. They changed America, and then they just fucking signing statement that shit right back to the way it was. Like I fucking basically erased all the shit. Although there's still some fighting back. Like I know that the trans stuff isn't going through in the military, even though he wanted it to. They really haven't done a lot to gay marriage, but you know, there's some stuff that are just like, yep, right, a statement,
just gone now.
and that's all gone.
Right. Yeah. This guy wants it both ways.
Yeah.
Like
He
it's
wants
like
to be the underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
he wants one in the mouth and one in the ass. This guy's finger cuffed.
He wants to be he wants to be plugged up airtight.
They changed the morals of America. They changed everything about America. They got control. But we just elected a president.
So you
didn't just do it.
It's been a year.
Yeah, it's been a while. I realize that time flips by like pages in the wind for you and at your advanced age, but it's been a year.
And also, like, you have the House and Senate too.
They've had that for 4 years or something, right?
So you've had the House and the Senate, but somehow you're the under diggity dog here. I'm not.
Yeah, and since before, even before Gorsuch, it was tied, and now Gorsuch is in there, and it's 5-4, just like it was when fucking Scalia was alive.
Yep. The evangelical vote elected the president.
That's right.
They know it.
That's right.
The pussy grabbing president.
Right. By 38% of America, squeaked by.
Yeah, squeaked by.
Less than half numerically. All right. But anyway.
And they're trying to bring in millions of illegals. They're trying to bring in anything from all the people from other countries to build a new voting group.
That's literally impossible.
Yeah, that's impossible.
It's a literally impossible thing. Even if we wanted, as I presume that I'm the they in this circumstance, right? Like I'm a secular thinky person.
Yeah.
So I presume
secular thinky person. I want that shirt. Secular thinky person.
We should make cognitive dissonance shirts that say just a secular thinky person.
If you would buy a secular thinky person shirt, let us know and design it for us.
Also host the merch.
If you could buy silk screen all the shirts, sell them for us, and then give us the profits, that would be awesome. Did I say I'm losing my job? I'm losing my job. So I want you guys to make sure that I don't have to blow hobos.
Yeah.
blow more hobos. I'm already tapped out. So Blowbos. It's like a BOGO on my Blowbos.
If you blow an old man, is it a blow pop?
Depends on his relation.
Mm-hmm. To be able to build a new constituency.
A new what, Tom? What is that? Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Oh, this is great.
A new what?
Be able to build a new constituency.
He freezes up. It's like when you catch your dog humping something and it looks over at you like, wow, I was just trying to get that one little bit out. You know what I mean? What? I wasn't doing anything.
Can you play that again?
Yeah.
Be able to build a new constituency.
Because you got like electrocuted.
Yeah. Be able to build a new he starts beatboxing. He's like
a new that was amazing.
He's like that guy from fucking Police Academy. He's like, build a new
He sounded like crumpling newspaper. It's like his vocal cords just realized how old they were and just turned to paper.
They have to grow over us. And that's why in this next elections or whatever, if every Christian gets out and votes together.
Well, then you'll have the same thing you have now. You have the same thing you have now that you're saying doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like you start off the first part of this clip saying like it doesn't work. They're winning. They've changed America. If I preach the gospel, I'll die. We should all get out and vote and get the same thing we already have.
Yeah.
God help us. We already changed. America's being changed. And the warfare is anger. They're angry. They want to kill. They want to march. They want to burn. They want to break windows. They want to burn up cars. I think the biggest miracle is President Trump has lived almost a year as president of the United States.
I agree that that's a miracle.
That is, It's like a Christmas miracle.
Yeah. Based on his cholesterol, I think that's a fucking miracle.
Because he looks like a plucked goose.
That's right.
And accomplish more in 1 year than the last 20 combined.
Yes. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yes, he has. Well, if that's true, then why were you so upset about Obama if he didn't accomplish anything?
If he didn't do anything.
I love that shit too. Yeah. It's like, oh man, like our president fucking accomplished all this and that. Like you just didn't like what the other guy did.
Right.
You can't, when he was doing stuff, those were accomplishments. There's accomplishments you didn't like.
Yeah.
It's such bullshit. Like it's like they're rewriting the history as it's occurring. I've never seen a rewrite happen to current events.
It's that fucking blatant lie to try to show how much of the underdog you are, but then also show how much you're in power. Right? Look at how quickly we got all that stuff done. Well, how did you get that done if you weren't in power? Like, how did you do more than 20 years worth if you weren't in power? If you weren't in fucking power, you wouldn't be able to do stuff that they haven't been able to do in 20 years. We got to leave this clip like we did in the middle here. Let's play it.
To be able to build a new constituency.
That's so great.
You win.
Oh, God, I love you, Jim.
Glory hole in extremely long black cock.
Two stories came out this week that were very similar. This one's from the Raw story. Teacher at Christian school arrested after being caught in bed with teen student. So a 29-year-old teacher at a Christian school was caught by her husband in bed with a 17-year-old male student.
Awkward.
And she is being charged. So she's being charged with third-degree rape, suspicion of third-degree rape, third-degree sodomy, contributing to the sexual delinquency of a minor, first-degree online sexual corruption of a minor, as well as unlawful delivery of marijuana to a person under 18 years.
I feel like you get somebody to fuck you for pot that's of age.
I feel
I feel like you could probably use it as a bargaining chip to fuck somebody that's 18.
Ass, cash, or grass, right? Like
you could just like wave that, be like, I got some fucking pot. What do you say? Now we're gonna yell at. They don't call it pot anymore. They call it the reefers.
What are you, 1,000,000 years old? Yes, I'm 1,000,000 years old.
They call
That's how old I am.
The reefers. You kids smoking your reefers.
But this is a teacher at a Christian school. I do like the reason I selected this story for two reasons. The one is that her biography, now deleted at the Christian school that she had been employed at, said that she always felt called to work with youth and is very excited that God opened the door for her.
Ross Story's innuendo game is strong.
I know,
That's
right?
all I'm saying. And always, Ross Story is always like that. They're always like, tongue firmly in cheek. Yeah, they do that shit all the time.
But I also want to point out, and I know this is like old and tired and had, but I think it's fucking true. Like whenever it's a chick, whenever it's a woman who has sex with a boy,
yeah,
they say that they're sleeping together. They had an affair is how this is written. They say,
it says police for having an affair with a 17-year-old boy. And when she started, he was 15.
Right.
He was 15. It's never rape.
Right. They're charging it this way, but we report this. And twice this week it happened.
Yeah.
Twice this week there were stories about women victimizing young men, right? And like they report this shit in ways that minimizes the impact, right?
Sure.
And like if the reason that women can't consent to sex or sexual activity, or anybody can't consent to sex or sexual activity below a certain age threshold is because they lack a certain amount of maturity, isn't it 100% the case that boys who mature slower than women, right? Men mature slower emotionally and intellectually than women do. They're even less equipped. So if that rationale is the actual rationale for why we've said like that there's a certain threshold, a certain age threshold under which you cannot consent, it does kind of make me nuts that we sort of like, well, was she pretty? You know what I mean? Like there's always that shit that's involved. So what that tells me is we don't believe that rationale. We don't believe that rationale. I think that we don't believe that rationale. I'm just going to say, like, I don't think that that's the real reason. I think underlying that is a sort of protectivist attitude toward women that does not exist or exists in a lesser degree toward boys.
I don't think it's a protectivist attitude. I think what it is that we're not threatened by women. That's the thing. Is that men are not threatened by women. And I'm going to tell you, I know that's not ubiquitous, so please don't send a message and be like, oh, I was raped. I understand that men can be raped. I get it. I understand.
Yes.
But I want to tell a story. I used to work at a cafeteria. I don't think I told this story on air, but I think I've told this story. I might have told you this story off air. I used to work at a cafeteria right after I got out of high school. So I was 18, 19 years old, and I was working a full-time job at a cafeteria. And basically it was like a place that fed like 900 people a day. I would work there and do work. And there was a woman who worked the grill, and she would sexually harass all the guys all the time. She would constantly sexually harass people. She'd grab them. She'd grab their ass. She'd reach for their crotch. She'd say sexually suggestive things to the guys all the time. And not just one guy, like all the guys that worked there,
right.
she would sexually harass them. And she would do it not just in private. She would do it in front of the entire kitchen. She would sexually harass people constantly. And it's not just harassment because it's assault if she's grabbing you, right? And so like this happened all the time. Every day of the week, this woman would harass somebody or assault them. It happened constantly. And nobody ever turned her in, and she never got in any trouble, and it never bothered any of the guys because none of us were ever threatened by that woman.
Sure, right.
There was never a moment that I was afraid that that woman could hurt me, that that woman could rape me, that that woman could have her way with me because I was a dude. And I was just like, we're never going to have sex. You're never going to touch me. I don't care. All the shit you're saying at me is just rolling off my back. I don't give a shit whether you say you want to blow me or whatever. I don't care. Like you're never touching my dick, right? It's never going to happen. It's never. And so like, we just didn't think anything of it. All the guys there had the exact same idea. They're just like, okay, great.
That's weird.
That's never going to happen. It's because none of us were ever threatened.
Yeah,
none of us ever felt like there was a threat. She was never in any position of power over any of us, like, which could have been very different. If she was like the manager of that place, very different feeling if the manager's saying, I want to suck your dick, than if, the woman out at the grill is saying, I want to suck your dick.
Not so much, because it's funny, because as you tell that story, there's a woman at the Burger King, and I had forgotten about it. It's that inconsequential, who did the same shit. She would harass all the guys in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And like, she'd wait for you to be like reaching for something. She'd come up and like grab you or whatever. Yeah. She did it all the time.
Sure.
And like, it's funny because it was so inconsequential, I forgot
you forgot it happened.
And she was the manager, and it didn't matter. Sure. Well, I think maybe it was Burger King.
It didn't matter because you're a kid.
Right.
The people I was working with were adults, right?
Right.
So I think it matters a little differently when you got to feed a kid at home or whatever. You got a mortgage payment. So it's a little different than just a throwaway job at Burger King. But even still, I was never threatened by her.
Right. Exactly.
And I feel the exact same way, right? Like these boys, we all assume they were never threatened because they were never we always presume that the man has the position of power all the time. We never presume that the woman has the position of power. Right. And when she does, it's only through the guy's assent that these things happen. Only through his consent. They were having an affair. They were sleeping together.
Right.
It was they never talk about consent as if the guy can give consent at that age.
Right. And it's funny because like probably a 15, 16, 17-year-old boy is physically capable, but like the power position of a teacher to a student
absolutely
is a gross, but I think I understand what you're saying. Like when it comes to the power dynamics between men and women, when we start thinking about how those interactions take place between adolescent boys and adult women, it gets muddy and confusing, right? Because the physical power position is such that boy may be the match, the physical equal or greater.
Probably greater
than the woman,
15,
right?
16, yeah.
But then the intellectual, emotional, and power structure difference is still heavily tipped in favor of the woman who's abusing
that boy,
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just saying that shit is fucked up.
We have a different standard. We have a very different standard.
We do. And it's so obvious in the language that we use to report these stories.
Yeah. If anything, as a guy listening to this that doesn't think there's a thing like a patriarchy, look at this story.
Right.
And highlights that. And it really does highlight the fact that men are in control. It really does highlight that fact. You look at it and you say, yeah, of course. Because the only way that we can report this story is if the guy is in control.
Yeah. He still has, it's funny, like we report the abuse of a boy by a woman in a way that still assumes he has power.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so funny because that default mode of thinking is that the man always has some power in this situation. Yeah.
And it's not that I disagree. I love the patriarchy. I'm killing it. I'm crushing the patriarchy. I love it. So don't get me wrong, MRA guys. I love that thing. Huge fan. I have a shirt that says patriarchy rules. Also, if you want to make that shirt for us.
No, I want that. No.
Yes.
Oh.
Come on, that'd be a great shirt. Cognitive dissonance. Patriarchy rules.
It's not going to be understood right.
That's right. That's true.
It's like it's always been the little women that caught the vision of giving, beginning with Jesus himself, out of their private means. Some of you little precious ones have that little grocery money, some of that little money set aside. Assure tonight the blessings of God on your family by giving it to God and speaking that. Say it. God, this is for blessings on my family.
Oh, God, this story is fucking sad. CBS News. Lawsuit claims megachurch in Ohio swindled elderly woman. I mean, this is kind of what it sounds like, except for that it's worse because she's not just elderly.
Yeah.
She's mentally ill.
She's got
dementia. She has fucking dementia.
Yep.
And she's been living alone for a long time since her husband passed. And they don't
have kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's nobody to protect this fucking woman.
Yeah.
Except for the fucking church, right? Yeah. Like, that shit makes me so crazy. It's like these people, they go to these churches and they think that the church has, this moral high ground and their best interest at heart. And like, these places are just stealing from the most vulnerable people. This is like the fucking textbook definition of the most vulnerable possible person.
And it's the textbook definition for a lot of people of the entity that should be protecting you.
Right.
It's the textbook definition of someone who is in a position of authority from you, in a position of authority with you, that is supposed to be there to look out for your best interests. They're not only looking out for your best interests here, but also in the afterlife, right?
Yep.
And we say all the time, like you hear all the time, the people that talk about, follow the money. I don't know if you've ever heard that statement, right? Follow the money. They talk about it when they try to talk about big pharma. We'll talk about something about that later. But, they talk about that follow the money. Nobody ever says that about churches, right? Look at this is a church that's looking for donations. These people are looking to get money constantly. And we rarely question them. We rarely look at them and be like, why do you need all that money? What do you need all that for?
Right.
We rarely question them. They have ability to not pay taxes. They have the ability to obfuscate funds all the time, pass things through all kinds of weird loopholes and whatnot. And then they have without people looking out for them, this woman lost $300,000, $340,000 check payable to this cathedral.
Yep. And it's worse than that because a member of the church even tried to get themselves appointed guardian of this woman.
Sure.
Guardian. So to take over control of this woman's assets. When you're a guardian of somebody, you've got a tremendous amount of latitude. I mean, not complete, but you have a tremendous amount of latitude.
Yeah.
This was not a woman who showed up and put too much money in the tithing plate. The church stalked her for this money.
Yeah.
The church,
they went out of their way to try to convince her to give it to them.
They recognized a mark. Is what they did. And they went after the fucking mark.
Yeah. The good thing is that they froze the church's assets and they're trying to get this money back. So that's a good thing. But her niece or whatever is the one who's in charge now, and it's just like these fucking people came after my aunt and tried to steal all this money.
Yeah. It's like when we were in Australia, Haley and I walked into there's a great big Catholic church. It's very beautiful. Walked into this church. You go to the church, by the way, in Sydney?
I didn't know.
There's a great big, beautiful Catholic church there. And we walked in and kind of looked around for a minute. And I took a picture because I thought it was really pretty. And then I thought about it for 2 seconds and I realized how actually horrible it was. You walk in this church and there's this gilded gate behind which is this beautiful stained glass area and the font or whatever of the baptism.
Yeah, the baptismal font.
Yeah, thank you. And it was sort of beautiful, but it's like what you're saying. What do you need all this money for? So you can gild a gate to keep people away from your magical water? That shit's crazy. That's money that could go to poor people to eat a food. And they're taking the money literally from poor people who might need it for food. And they're using it to gild a gate.
Yeah.
It's like the ugliest thing you can do with resources.
Sure. Yeah.
It's they're like opposite Robin Hoods. They're like hood robins.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu
Akbar. This shit is fucking nuts. This is from the BBC News. Nottingham radio station's non-Muslim doctor advice breached rules. I had a hard time reading that headline. So let me kind of summarize this a little bit. Basically, a Muslim was given advice by a doctor that was not a Muslim. And the advice was like, hey, you got the diabetes. You probably shouldn't fast.
Yeah.
And the Muslim, cleric or whatever, was like, look, if that advice came from a doctor that wasn't a Muslim, you should just completely disregard it.
Says, well, their advice carries no weight. It has no importance whatsoever.
Yeah,
that's a quote.
This is your fucking pancreas doesn't give a shit what your deeply, sincerely held religious beliefs are.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to be like, oh man, it turns out I'm Muslim. So here's some insulin. And you're like, it's not going to do that.
Yeah. It doesn't change its mind when you turn to Mecca.
Right. Yeah. Prepare it 5 times a day. Quick, produce insulin properly. It's not going to do that.
Yeah, that's not the jumper cables to get it to start. Yeah.
I just it's fucking flabbergasting that somebody be like, I don't know, does he have a Muslim body? Maybe it'll work differently. Oh, we cut him open and he was Muslim inside.
It's there's another part of this that says it added that advising listeners to disregard the medical advice of a doctor, non-Muslim doctor, was discriminatory, as it suggested a non-Muslim doctor was not capable of treating Muslim people. So they claimed that it was not only breaking the rules in the sense that they were giving out medical advice, but it was discriminatory as well, which I thought was great. The next caller that he got was a woman who was being raped, and she was like, was I asking for it? Or
and he rushed over with both his fingers out.
I was going to drive a car over, but I was afraid to get pregnant. Will I get pregnant if I drive a car over?
Ready to stick it in the glory hole? Get links to their Facebook, Twitter, and if you still use it, Google Plus account at their website, dissonancepod.com. If you need to be all discreet about it, contact them by email at dissonance.podcast@gmail.com. Or you can call and leave a ransom message at 740-74-DOUBT. That's 740-743-6828. Want to hear Cognitive Dissonance commercial free and gain access to exclusive content, including full patron-only shows? Head to patreon.com/dissonancepod and become a patron to support the show on a per-episode basis. Love commercials? Not ready to become a patron? Give the guys a 5-star review on iTunes or Stitcher. Or tell your buddies in the drunk tank about the show. We want to send a big sloppy glory hole to all the patrons and people who rate us. You fucking rock.
This comes from the Hurry Up Daily News. Not quite hurry yet. Atheists do not know how to breathe properly, says a Turkish therapist. So this is actually very funny. Some fucking nut job. I'm going to try to read this name. Oh, I don't know what that letter is. We're going to go with S, but it's like an S with like a prolapsed colon.
Nevsha Fidan
Caramel?
Karamehet.
All right. So, Nevsa Fidan Caramel House. No, I don't think that's right. She's a self-proclaimed breathing therapist, which I love.
Self-proclaimed.
I feel like if you need a breathing therapist, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like,
or choking.
Breathing is not the sort of thing. It's like, I'm not breathing. You don't need a therapist. You need air. Yeah. Like you need a doctor. You need an emergency room. Else. She suggested that atheists have no breath in their rib cages because of something to do with magnetic fields. I want to read what she said. Quote, radical atheists come to my seminars. There are many serious researches conducted to find the relations between breathing and thinking. For example, atheist abdominal breathing is perfect, but there is no breath in here, she said, pointing to a rib cage. There is no bulge in the rib cage. It is like there is a stone in there.
She said there is a bulge in the rib cage.
Oh, there is. I'm sorry. There is a bulge in the rib cage. It's like there's a stone in there. If you think we're hiding a stone in our rib cage, you wouldn't believe what we'll stick down our pants to fool.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is a PSA to everybody out there that really doesn't know a lot about atheists. Atheists take a long time to digest their food. They're like snakes. So what you have to do is what you're probably feeling is the baby they ate a couple months ago. So
you don't want to chew it.
If you just give them a little massage with their consent, you will help them digest that food. It'll help push it down a little farther down into their body.
Yeah. So I want to read the second quote after she says that hundreds of thousands of atheists find God through breathing with her. She said, during our exercises, we focus especially on the body part that has difficulties breathing. I feel like if your body has any difficulty breathing,
lung?
That's your whole part.
Well, it's just like you get the breath through the lung.
Have you ever, your toes have never breathed? You ever no? You never
you take one good deep breath. I can feel that all the way to my toes.
Right? Sometimes that's why if your mouth and your nose are covered, you can just breathe through
osmosis. That's another PSA for people. Atheists breathe through their skin.
Like salamanders.
We're like snails. When you cover us with salt.
We also don't sweat, which is why we pant with our tongues out. She says,
we're diabetic. All of us are diabetic. She says, that's from too many Snickers. That's what that's from.
That's not actually untrue.
Hold on, I got to amputate my leg. What were you saying?
The basement's a hell of a place to die.
I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence!
This story's Right-Wing Watch. This is Alex Jones making his appearance. The new Star Wars film is state-sponsored propaganda. Hey, at this point, is Alex Jones just watching shit on Netflix and going to the movies? And like all of his metaphors now are just shit he's seen recently?
I think so.
Remember the Stranger Things rant he had?
Yeah, and he also had a thing about the Matrix recently.
Right.
So, yeah.
He's just yelling about stuff he's seen recently.
My wife bought tickets like opening night a week and a half ago to Star Wars. And I just said, man, I can't look at that poor, sad Princess Leia. Carrie Fisher was so eaten up near the end of her death. It's just, you know.
She's eaten up near the end of her death. she's like
the end of her death.
She's been working on this death for a long time, guys. She's been working on it her whole life.
Near the end of her, you know, she's never looked worse than near the end of her death. At the beginning of her death, though, I still would have fucked her. I'm just saying.
She could have, even Oldie McOlderson put on that Leia outfit. When she put on that Leia outfit, I'd be Jabba the Hutt for her. I mean, I already have the body figure, so.
To see a person like that on screen, I just don't want to see it. And the others are so chock full of political propaganda. So I was talking to some of the crew, and Daria went and saw it. And she said it was total SJW. That Princess Leia has.
Yeah, it's SJW because there's a multiracial cast. That's why.
I love the idea that, like, here we are on Earth and there's more than one race.
Right.
One would presume that when we start adding additional worlds into the equation, that there would be additional races.
Exactly.
Like, it's not like how boring would it be if you went and traveled these interstellar distances and you find life on another planet? It's just fucking old white guys.
Just dudes.
And it's it's just senators.
Hey, you want to bump dicks?
As a girlfriend with purple hair. And again, I don't care if there's people with purple hair, but every movie, the women are the bosses, the women are the heroes.
That's not every movie.
Most
and it's also
movies.
not reality. So I don't know why it's a big deal. Why would it bother you if it's every movie? It's not reality. Give them fucking movies, man. Just be like, if you don't want to give up power, just be like, cool, you can just have all the movies. It's fake and not real.
I don't even understand why this would bother him at all.
Yeah.
It's like in the movies, sometimes women are in charge of stuff.
Sometimes they're not cooking.
Okay, right? Just turn it off if you're offended, weird misogynist asshole.
Exactly.
They're all lesbians. It's the same story over and over.
That's Pornhub. You're confusing the movies with Pornhub. The women in lesbian movies are in charge.
Yeah.
It would be weird otherwise.
Yeah. What they're doing in the lesbian porn is they're asking the dildos what to do. They're just like, you're the representation of maleness in this scene. Direct me. Tell me what I need to do.
Again. And it's a formula. It's state sponsored. It's brainwashing. It's like all these shows where the Russians are our enemies, and then the bad guy, because they're the resistance, fighting like an Eric Trump-like character. So I haven't seen it yet. And again, Darius.
But here's my opinion about the thing I haven't
seen it yet. But somebody told me that there was lesbians. So
I'm going to see it tonight.
So fuck that thing. Fuck it.
Said, I talked about it on Twitter. They all attacked me. That's because that's what they do. It's a place where they can ban you, censor you, and then all gang up. But
wait a minute. I talked about it on Twitter. It's a place where they can ban you and censor you. You haven't been banned and censored. Yeah. You said you just talked about it there.
The thing is he doesn't like it when people tweet at him, when people send stuff back at him. What people are saying, I disagree with you, and it hurts his little fifis.
And I love the idea. It's like, I haven't seen it, but I talked about it on Twitter, and then they banned it. It's like, you didn't see it. You don't know what you're talking about. You're opining anyway. Yeah. People disagree. Then you're saying you're banned. Like, none of this happened. Even this, you can't even be honest about this.
This is less true than Star Wars.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is great. This is from Raw Story. Self-described Christian prophet predicts Trump will cure cancer and Alzheimer's during his second term. I have to say, Dr. Heal Thyself, because he's certainly losing
kidding,
it.
Right? He's got to release it soon.
Right?
All right, so this is Mark Taylor talking about Trump.
Anything about advanced tech or medical cures being released by Trump. And, here's something. Speak about.
Wait, what? Advanced cures being released by Trump.
Oh, well, you probably don't know this because you follow the mass media, but when the president actually controls all technology.
I didn't know that.
Goes, I know. It's crazy to say it.
I guess I just don't read enough.
You're probably getting stuck reading stuff that's true. So the president controls all technology and then doles it out.
I see.
Right. So most of it comes from Roswell, from Area 451 or whatever.
450.
And then he gives out pieces of it.
Area 409.
Yeah. what Fahrenheit 409 or whatever. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Anyway, you wouldn't know. You're brainwashed by the man.
He released the JFK files. Hey, I'm waiting for him to release whether or not we went to the moon, but that's another subject,
The moon files.
I like that he leaves an open mind whether or not, because it could have been yes.
It could have been a yes.
Question's still out there.
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, they still have all the stuff we went there with. They still have a reflector on the moon.
I was going to say, you could literally shine a light at it.
Shoot a fucking laser at, and it goes and fucking tells you how far away the moon is. But no, you're right. We should probably look at a paper that some asshole wrote that said we didn't go there.
But maybe even something, what's going on down there at Area 51? You think...
Credibility.
What I love is like people haven't talked about Area 51 in a long time.
No.
We've just stopped. We're just, that's not a real
That shit
thing.
was like a big deal when I was a kid. Like when I was like a late pre-adolescent, like early teens kind of a thing. And I remember like reading like these Whitley Strieber books, like Communion, and like he had a whole series of books that were
about
like
Area 51.
Yeah, well, they were alien books, like the Greys and all that stupid shit. It kind of tied in with that whole theme of that being interesting.
Was it boring?
They were scary at the time. They were fiction books that were presented as nonfiction.
Books. Okay.
Yeah, they were cleverly done. They were like fiction presented as nonfiction. And so as a young person who was stupid because I was young, they were scary, right?
Because you thought aliens were real.
Because I had no ability to understand that I was an asshole and didn't know anything.
Well, if you're presented something as if it's a documentary.
Right.
That's why if like they were, I don't know if they were young or stupid, they might believe the Blair Witch Project. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
It's that kind of thing. Right. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. But all that stuff is like long since faded out of popularity. Like, do you remember when Fox had that alien autopsy show?
Sure. Yeah.
And that was sort of that same thing. It was sort of like a quasi documentary.
But now they're talking, now I think the shift went to ancient aliens. Like they're not here, but they were here and they helped us fucking build a bunch of shit that a bunch of old people built that could totally be built by anybody.
I feel like the whole alien thing though has kind of fallen out of favor, like for a lot.
Yeah, I think so too. You'll hear about it once in a while, but I have a feeling. I know that there was something that popped up in the New York Times recently that we're talking about a UFO something or another. It's like, I guess there was a CIA thing that was released that was talking about how there was money that was put toward sort of researching UFOs. Sure. And I guess a bunch of people freaked out about it and there was a big Reddit thread about it, et cetera. But I haven't heard a lot about aliens in a long time. The only aliens that I've heard of in maybe the last 5 to 6 years are the ancient alien types. That's they built a fucking runway. Why would they need a runway? And you're like, it's not a runway, stupid.
I miss the probings.
Yeah.
I just miss the
the cattle mutilation.
They were
I mean, you just invite all your friends over, you have a cattle mutilation, you start a fire, everybody eats. It's amazing.
You know why I think this has faded out of popularity? My half-assed theory on this.
Vegans?
Well, for the cattle mutilations, yeah, for sure. I think it's cell phones, man.
Yeah.
Cell phone cameras and video.
Cell phone cameras and video. Everybody's got a camera on them. Everybody's got a camera on them at all times.
Yep. Yeah. It just destroys that shit.
Yeah.
It's just gone. Like as soon as the ubiquity of film and video is in everybody's hand all the time, all of a sudden there's a lot less of that shit, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, because like there's no more Loch Ness and Bigfoot and aliens, all that shit and ghost sightings, like a lot of that shit goes away real fast.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Is like if there was really a UFO, you wouldn't have one video of it.
Yeah, you'd have hundreds of
corroborating videos.
Yeah.
Which is why we don't see that shit anymore.
Trump will go that deep and start releasing the secret hidden information of our government?
I honestly do. I believe that you're fixing to see cures, for medical conditions begin to come forth because, you got Big Pharma out there wants everybody sick.
Big Pharma. You got Big Pharma out there wants everybody sick. That's what they want. That's why, you know what people love to do is they love to devote their entire lives and incredible amounts of education to keeping people like that's what people do. Keeping people sick.
And none of their relatives have ever been sick.
Their children, their grandparents, their mothers, their spouses, none of them will ever get sick.
Yeah.
They're not worried about getting it. Well, they probably have it secret, like
they'll
safe.
They'll take the cure themselves and they'll administer. You know, that's the thing is like all these things fall apart because nobody ever comes forward and being like, hey, you know what? Merck has a cure for cancer. They're just not letting it out. Also, cancer isn't one thing, right?
I know. That's the other thing.
You know,
that makes me
cancer's not
crazy.
one thing. There's all kinds of different types of cancer that are very different from each other.
But pause and think about, like, if you're the company, not even the person individually, but even if you're just the company, you're the company that invented this cure for cancer. And again, it's impossible cancer. It's not one thing, but let's say it because that's what they're always saying,
Sure.
right? You invented the cure for cancer. You're immediately the richest, most famous, most beloved company that has ever been and probably ever will be.
Yeah.
If it's an individual that it can be attributed to, there will be statues erected in your honor in every city square.
Public libraries named after you.
There is no amount of money that you will ever need.
Streets.
All the incentives.
Yeah.
All the incentives are in favor of being like, holy shit balls, we fucking cured cancer. Can't you believe how awesome we are? Look at our penises. It would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And instead, it's just like, nah, let the money trickle in slowly as we sell them a lesser quality drug, and then we'll be evil because people like to be evil. Like, regular people aren't evil. That's the other thing is, like, regular people aren't like, I'll kill thousands for money. Nah. And we all have to get together and agree we're doing this.
And then you all have to like sign some pact and be quiet
and
about
nobody
it. Nobody ever says anything.
Right. And like, who are the people that like wake up and they've spent their entire lives getting degrees in medical research so that they can go
and lie,
be evil.
Yeah, and go lie about it.
Because the people I know that get into medicine, they don't get into medicine because they're just like, I want to make a bunch of money. They get into medicine because you can get a lesser degree and make more money. You can get a degree in finance if you just want to make money and you're real fucking smart and you want to get an advanced degree. Go get a degree in finance. You'll make way more than you're going to as a doctor or a medical researcher.
Sure.
You fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, medical researcher, that's where the big money's at.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I think too, you know, we look back on and we say, okay, well, what happens if you cure cancer? Well, you know, we tried to cure polio. And people still don't think that thing is real.
Right.
Right.
We're still trying to cure polio.
If a cure for cancer came out, they would immediately say, well, it gives you cancer. Oh, it's so the government can trace you. Don't get that cure. Drink apple cider vinegar.
Oh, my God. I know.
Period. And so I think what you're going to see happen here now, again, I don't know the timing of this. This could be in his second term that a lot of this stuff starts happening.
Oh, shut up, you. Shut up.
I love, but you know, what a great hedge, right? Because if he loses the second term, then he can say, we would have gotten all this stuff.
They would have told us all about the moon landing.
Happening because right now the corruption is so deep that's taking priority over everything. We got to get these people out of the way first. And that's
if you had this in your back pocket, it would literally take no effort.
What about the corruption? You got to get people out of the way. You don't realize who's corrupt in this equation?
That's going to pave the way for all this stuff to come through. But you're going to see cures. You know, we've had cures for this stuff, Daniel, for years, for decades, for cancer. We've got cures out there, I believe, for Alzheimer's.
You can't even say it.
I know.
You don't even know what it is.
You know what? At least he didn't call it old timers or Alzheimer's. That shit makes me crazy.
Old timers.
I
love it. That's how I'm calling it.
I got old timers or all timers.
All timers.
I've heard old timers and all timers.
All timers.
Every time
I have collected all the time. I have a giant Flavor Flav clock on my neck.
All kinds of diseases out there. Their cures are there, but they want the money coming in for research. Big Pharma doesn't want you
Big Pharma
being well. They want you sick. That's how they make their money.
They don't have to give the cures away either. They can make. I'm sorry, I got to pause on this one. Like, they can charge any amount of money.
The rules say if you make the cancer cures, you have to throw them out as paper airplanes to everybody. So we want to thank our patrons. Of course, we want to thank all our patrons for sticking with us through Patreons. Nuttiness, as well as all the new patrons. We want to thank Fat Man and Toots. I think that's my brother.
That's amazing.
I think that's my brother. Paul, Pretheist, Nora, Benjamin, Kevin, Jesus fucking Christ, Tim, and David. Thank you for your generous donations. We, of course, appreciate it. We appreciate all the people who donate to Glory Hole Studios and possibly to Cecil's salary very soon. So thank you very much. We got a message. This is from Talis, and Talis sent along a song called "White Wine in the Sun," and it's a song about Christmas that I listened to, and I like. The lyrics are really great, and basically the song is like sort of just somebody saying they like Christmas. They realize it's problematic for a lot of reasons for an atheist to like Christmas,
right?
But they still like Christmas. And I actually somebody sent me a message, or it was posted somewhere this week, a Spotify list. They said, here's a Spotify list for Cecil for Christmas songs that don't mention Christ.
Oh.
And the thing is I don't care. Like I cut this from the show last week, but I genuinely don't care. Like I actually like some of those old, like hymnal sort of Christmas songs. Sure. Like I really like those songs. I recognize that I don't believe any of it, but I like a lot of that stuff. Sure. I like the Christmas season. I like the decorations. I like saying Merry Christmas. It doesn't bother me at all that it's overly religious. It just like going in a church can be beautiful. So can the Christmas season to me. So we got a couple messages. We got a bunch of messages. We'll be reading these interspersed with calls to prayer. This one is from Albert, and Albert says that this is one of those cringe moments with music. Albert says the Beatles were the group all through elementary school and Rolling Stone. How about Sonny and Cher? and then Albert, I guess, liked Glenn Campbell. I don't know if I know any of that music, but also said the most embarrassing thing I listened to is probably Black Sabbath and the Moody Blues. I don't think I like Black Sabbath.
I don't feel like Black Sabbath is embarrassing.
Yeah, I liked Black Sabbath. I liked Black Sabbath as a kid, and I still think I know for sure I like the song Supernaut. But I don't know about any of the other stuff. I think probably War Pigs might be a little cringy now.
War Pigs is pretty cringy.
Yeah.
But it was a product of its time, too, you know?
But I think there's a lot of other they have some other pretty good songs, I think. I mean, I guess maybe I'm just misremembering too. I don't know. Got a message from Holly, and Holly sent an image. She said, Woodboard Love, did I do it right? My kid was swarming and I panicked. And it's a Domino's pizza on a cutting board, still in the box. Still, you got to open the box. If your kid is swarming, Holly, you got to open the box so they can't get to the food.
What's confusing is I don't know which would taste more like wood, the cutting board exactly. Or that Domino's.
Domino's, that New York style pizza. So, so this is
it's not that bad.
This is a call to prayer from 17.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.
This is a good one. Nice fade in and everything. This is great. This works.
That was great.
Loved it.
That was great.
Loved it.
That was really good. Nicely done, number 17. This one's from Ben, and Ben is talking about cringe music, and he says, you ever heard of Vast?
I know Vast.
I don't.
I know this band, Visual Audio Sensory Theater, Vast. I had both of those albums. I listened to the first one kind of a lot. I listened to it recently. I don't listen to that album anymore. Oh my God. Oh my God.
You got a lot of shit for Trent Reznor, though. A lot of people still
A lot of
Trent
people
Reznor.
are giving me shit about that. They're just wrong.
So Dan sent this in, and I got to admit, I knew this when he sent this in. There was a band called MOD, and they had a song called AIDS, and it was translated into anally inflicted death sentence. And one of my friends, I don't know, not a friend, but somebody who I knew growing up, had this album, and I knew these lyrics. I knew this song, And it's a horrible song.
This is the worst thing I've ever read.
And literally, one of the refrains is anally inflicted death sentence, AIDS, and then it says, that's what you get for having a penis up your ass. You should have used a condom. That's what you get. Swallow another man's load, a lubricated condom. What a horrible thing. Oh my God, you fucking awful, fucking homophobic garbage people. Holy shit, man. Oh God, it's so bad. The lyrics for this, don't do yourself a favor and avoid this at all costs. The lyrics for this, Dan, oh man,
that is really atrocious.
It is. I mean, it's just as bad as, imagine if there was like a song about like lynching a black dude. Like that's basically what it is.
This is that bad.
This is gay lynching.
This is that bad.
Yeah. Cringeworthy music here from Richard. And Richard says he listened to Nickelback.
Oh no.
Oh, Richard.
Oh, Richard.
I to be perfectly honest, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I don't know a Nickelback song.
Oh, you are winning.
I honestly, if you played a Nickelback song, I'd be like, is that Creed? I wouldn't know.
You don't think you'd recognize it?
I don't think so. I don't know any Nickelback songs.
I don't remember the name of they had like a hit, and I think I would recognize it if I heard it.
I can't make fun of them because I don't know their music. I know everybody hates it, and everybody like talks about it like it's sort of like it's a default insult. But yeah. I honestly can't.
It's just that bland,
now
generic,
I gotta look it up.
Pointless quasi rock garbage. You know what I mean? That's just like, it doesn't do anything interesting ever.
I'm sick aside without a sense of feeling.
I know that song.
Yep.
Okay. I knew it. I just like, the thing is like, I couldn't pick them out of a lineup. You know what I mean? It's like I would have never, I've heard that song before, but it's like, that's because that's like Q101 or whatever.
Right. That's what I mean. And like, the thing is, like, everything about it is just so fucking perfectly ordinary. That's the real problem with Nickelback. His voice is every other voice like that, right? That set of lyrics is every other set of lyrics like that. The guitars, everything about it is just everything else just like that. There's nothing, it doesn't even have like the guts to be rude. Like, it's just so boring.
We got an image from Noel, and this is Trump Christmas album. We're going to put it on this week's show notes. This is 392. Check it out. It's pretty awesome.
It is funny.
I love the names of some of these songs. We got a video from a lot of people because we talked about fucking cars. This one is from Phil, but so many people sent this to us, and I had seen this before. Someone had tied a Fleshlight to an exhaust. We're going to put the video on this week's show notes. Check it out, 392. It's something else.
Really funny.
It's something else.
It is actually really funny.
A bunch of people, I didn't realize. So I guess there's a guy who does YouTube stuff called JonTron. I don't watch YouTube, so I have no idea who this guy is, but evidently he's really popular. And so this Nathan guy says, oh, people are doing JonTron clips, so I should do one too. I just like the way he talks, and he sounds like he's talking in this, and it's kind of funny. I don't know anything about the guy though. So
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Fuck you! I ain't having that shit!
9 Inch Nails is a shit, Tom. Trent Reznor, and they spelled it wrong, is a genius. Downward Spiral is amazing. And so this person is...
And you can suck my dick, says Danielle.
Well, Danielle, you can fuck my Fleshlight that's attached to my car. Yeah, I again, I haven't listened to it in forever, so I can't make that.
The thing is, like,
estimation.
I listen to music for the lyrics, and they're lyrics that just don't work for me anymore. Like, they're lyrics from a time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they feel so dated to me now.
Leslie said Rhinestone Cowboy was one. I remember that song. Michael Jackson's Thriller. And then
that's still a terrific...
Wham! And the Monkees catalog. I love the Monkees as a kid. I thought they were awesome when I was a little kid. Because I used to watch them every day on. At like, it was like I would say like 3 or 4 o'clock every day. They would come on TV.
They're just monkeying around, man.
And I would watch it every day. I loved it. So.
And I'm sorry, the Thriller album is a great album.
Is it?
I love that album. I listen to that unironically several times a year.
It's a great album. He's the king of pop. You know what I mean? Like, it's got a lot of it's a classic now.
Yeah.
Anything from K-Tel Records? K-Tel was the disco one, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was. It's hard to remember. The Top Gun soundtrack from Cameron. That one has the Danger Zone on it. Highway to the Danger Zone. And then there's this is Brad, and Brad says Dragon Force. Have you ever heard this music?
What the fuck is Dragon Force?
Just go Google this and listen to it. I don't want to play it on the show, but Dragon Force it's just like really complicated metal. Like really like all over the fucking place, like doing like crazy fucking like, I don't even know, scales or whatever. And so, I mean, it makes sense because it's Dragon Force, so they would be scales, but
God, troll, it's terrible.
but yeah, like fucking, it's just nutty. It's just, I listened to it earlier and I was like, this is crazy music. So we got a message from Michael Wood Jr., what was he, the police management dude or whatever he called himself last time he was on our show. He said, Cecil, we can no longer speak unless it is long discussion about the greatness of Nine Inch Nails, you fucking donkey. I didn't say anything about Nine Inch Nails. You're thinking of Tom, you asshole. You've been on our show twice and you can't even tell us apart, you fuck knuckle.
In the studio.
You fucking asshole. Tom's the smelly one. Just remember, in your fucking marijuana-addled brain, rewind. That guy's going to fight me now.
He's not going to fight you. He's going to beat you.
He's scary. He weighs half my weight, and he's like fucking 3 inches shorter than me, and I'm terrified of him. Fucking terrified of that guy. This is fucking awesome. This is so hilarious.
Can I read this?
Because as a kid, when I mentioned that whole thing, like who you would have got a tattoo of, this was the first thing that popped to my mind because 9 Inch Nails, I was a huge fan.
Right, me too. He says, I was listening to your recent episode where you're talking about bands you used to love enough to get a tattoo of and make you cringe. Now, when I was 18, I got a 9 Inch Nails tattoo on my back. I can't stand them anymore. And I would literally rather have a gigantic cock tattooed on my face. It would be less embarrassing.
You know what you need? The best part about a 9 Inch Nails tattoo is that it's already a box, right? It's a box. So just have somebody make like a pretty box of something on your back. You know what you have them do? Have them do like the back of a car with that box with a fleshlight as the tailpipe.
You know, turn that box into a box.
Russell sent us 10 different videos of underground Christian music from the early 2000s that they were ashamed of. Of course you were ashamed of it. Overground Christian music is something to be ashamed of.
Wait, scroll down because I love the name of a couple of these. He sends us a copy of The W's, The Devil is Bad.
The Devil is Bad.
Or The Huntingtons, Jackie is an Atheist.
Jackie is an Atheist.
Or POD's Abortion.
All right, so this is from Maria. This is a call to prayer.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
What the fuck is going on?
Chris sends a message in about bands that they don't listen to anymore. And Chris says that when he was in elementary school, he loved Bon Jovi. I had their first 4 albums on cassette.
Then he says the biggest one was Metallica. I had at least 3 Metallica shirts in high school. After they cut their hair in the mid-90s, everyone I knew stopped listening to them. That was sort of their downfall.
It really was.
I saw Metallica in concert.
Did you?
Yeah.
I've never seen him in concert.
Yeah, I saw him at a one of those big like
one of
big
those,
rock shows.
Yeah.
Like it was like a rock stock or something. Yeah. They were fun. I got tackled in a mosh pit.
Yeah.
Then got up and it was cool. For its time, you know, for like, like 19, it was like, I also want to be here. You know
the fucking toughest mosh pit I was ever in? What was the toughest mosh pit you were ever in? Pantera was the toughest?
Pantera. So I fell down and somebody stepped on my head.
Oh my God.
And they stepped on my, but thankfully it was muddy. They stepped on my head. I sunk my head into the mud and an Eddie Bauer watch was stuck to my
fucking
face.
Hey, man.
And I was like,
that's money.
Cool.
I got a watch.
My response, I was like, cool, free watch.
Free watch, bro.
I was like 17, 18.
You get your face crushed down there. You girl come up and there's like 5 Limp Bizkit CDs touched to your face because everybody threw them away. Toughest mosh pit I was ever in.
Yeah.
Dead Milkman.
Oh.
It was brutal. Like I've been in a lot of industrial shows and stuff, and like most of that is just sort of like put your head down and push around.
Yeah,
And
but
the
that
fucking
shit's...
Dead Milkman one,
Yeah,
these
that
guys
doesn't
were
surprise
like kicking, like they were like...
It's a different style of moshing,
it
though.
was
Like,
really painful.
yeah.
Like I got kicked a couple times. I was like, fuck that. I'm out of here.
Now that I
Doc
think about
Martens
it,
leave a mark.
I was going to say, Rancid was a for real mosh pit too. It's a lot of like, there's like a swinging involved in that moshing that's like, I am punching, and if you're near me, you're getting punched too. And it's like, and like a high step. There's like
a high step
kick
to it. Yeah.
It's different than like metal moshing.
Yeah.
Metal moshing is more like
bouncing, just bouncing in front of each other.
Running in a sort of agreed upon anger circle.
And there's like a swirl. Like there's a circle.
Yeah,
Like
right.
there's a pit. Yeah. I remember being in the pit for Nine Inch Nails because they had a pit for some reason. And I don't remember why there was one. Because it's not, as I recall, it wasn't like...
You could mosh to like March of the Pigs.
Yeah.
That would be a good mosh song.
There's a couple of good songs for that. But yeah, I remember there, I had general admission tickets. I was just in the Crush though, in the front of it, because I wanted to see the show.
Yeah,
so I was in the Crush. But yeah, like I've been in some, I was in some really hairy ones for like local shows, like smaller shows.
Get for reals?
At Metro. Fucking the Metro in Chicago.
You're talking about the venue.
Yeah.
Aragon Ballroom.
Yeah.
It's like sort of like famous for that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I remember I saw Primus a number of times at the Aragon.
On purpose?
I like Primus.
Wow. You just like, they were just like shooting tickets out of a t-shirt gun somewhere.
I like Primus. Primus sucks.
Hold on, I'll play my bass.
Fuck you. Move on. I still like Primus.
Oh, here's another call to prayer. This one is from William.
A long black cock, long black cock. A long black cock, long black cock. Yeah.
This one's from Trav. Trav sent in a call to prayer. Trav does, or at least did, I don't know if he still does, the Bi Skeptical podcast. So this is Trav's submission.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allah.
You like the Beatles?
I do like the Beatles. Yeah. You?
Yeah. I don't dislike the Beatles.
I kind of feel like they're hard to dislike.
Yeah. Full circle, Trav. Nicely done. That's going to get flagged by YouTube. Tom, this one's about Vanilla Ice. This is from AC.
She said, hearing Tom mention that he listened to Vanilla Ice when he was younger reminded me of a sad story. My sister once called in sick to work so she could watch Cool as Ice, the Vanilla Ice movie on TV. Is my favorite part.
Really?
It's important to note that she was almost 30 years old at the time. I can't imagine calling in sick so you could watch a movie on TV.
You know, the thing is like 30 years old at a job where you worked at night, because that's a primetime movie.
Right.
And Mac sent in two, but I'm only going to play one. This one is great. This is from Mac. This is the last call to prayer for the evening.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Just keeps going.
That dog sounds like fucking Chewbacca. That's fucking amazeballs.
I love it.
All right. Well, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. We hope that you remember us in your gift bag when and remember me when I'm standing in the unemployment line. Just remember me and think about me and maybe pledge $1 so I don't have to do that. But that's gonna wrap it up for this Christmas edition of Cognitive Dissonance. We will be back with a New Year's Day edition next week.
We will indeed.
So be on the lookout for that. But until then, we're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue.
It's fortune cookie cutter, mommy issue, hypno-Babylon bullshit. Couched in scientician, double bubble, toil and trouble, pseudo quasi alternative, acupunctuating, pressurized, stereogram, pyramidal, free energy healing, watered downward spiral, brain deadpan sales pitch, late night info docutainment. Leo, Pisces, cancer cures, detox, reflex, foot massage, death and towers, tarot cards, psychic healing, crystal balls, Bigfoot, Yeti, aliens, churches, mosques and synagogues, temples, dragons, giant worms, Atlantis, dolphins, truthers, birthers, witches, wizards, vaccine nuts, shaman healers, evangelists, conspiracy, doublespeak, stigmata, nonsense. Expose your sides. Thrust your hands, bloody, evidential, conclusive. Doubt even this.
The opinions and information provided on this podcast are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of Glory Hole Studios, LLC. Cognitive Dissonance makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, currentness, suitability, or validity of any information, and will not be liable for any errors, damages, or butthurt arising from consumption. All information is provided on an as-is basis. No refunds. Produced in association with the local Dairy Council and viewers like you.